Hello guys, this is Solomon. In this short video, I'm going to show you how to configure a DHCP server. A DHCP stands for the Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, and this is the protocol that enables you to assign IP addresses dynamically to devices on your network. For few devices, it could be done statically, but as the number of devices grow, it becomes unmanageable to statically assign IP to every device. So we use the DHCP protocol to actually assign those IP addresses. So you don't need to have a specialized DHCP server on your network to be able to do that. Any Cisco router can be configured as a DHCP server. And that's what I'm going to show you in this short video, how to configure a Cisco router to give IP addresses to devices on your network. As you know, I'm devoted to giving you a step-by-step way of configuring whatever it is you want to configure on the Cisco router and switches, and do it in very short videos so that it doesn't take too much of your time. So let's go right into it. We have a small topology here, which is what I've created in a GNS3. It's just a switch that is connected to a cloud, which is could be your internet or the corporate network, whatever network it is behind that cloud. Okay, it connects to a switch, and then we have two hosts on that switch. So what I'm going to do is configure a DHCP server on R1 to give IP addresses to host 1 and host 2 dynamically. Okay, let's go into it. So now we are in router R1. Let's make this bigger a little bit. Okay. All right. R1. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is go into the global configuration mode, as always. All right, so to configure a DHCP server, the first thing you need to configure is the pool. Give a name to a DHCP pool from which you're going to be given the IP addresses. So IP DHCP pool, and I'll give it a name, just a basic name here, DHCP server. So I gave the name to that pool, to a DHCP server. That takes me into the DHCP configuration mode. So the next thing I want to configure is the network. And the network is just say which subnet, from which subnet am I giving out IP addresses. Okay. So from here, I'm giving from 192.168.1.0. That's my network. And the subnet mask for that is 255.255.255. Which is slash 24, a class C IP address. And now I'm going to define my default router. Okay, basically just defining the default gateway for the network. So every device that gets IP from this router is going to send their traffic to this default gateway. The default gateway is 192.168.1.1, which is the IP address of the F10 interface on this router. Okay. All right. So now I want to configure the list. The list is to tell the router how long should this IP address be leased out before it has to be renewed. So here I'm configuring for 7, which means 7 days, and that means any device that gets IP address from this router can keep the IP address for 7 days, and after 7 days that IP needs to be renewed. Okay, now I configure a DNS server. You don't need to have, definitely need to have a DNS server on your network. It could be any well-known DNS server. If you have one on your network, you definitely want to configure that as your DNS server. If you're using this router to access the internet, you can just use the DNS server from your ISP. Okay, so here I configure the DNS server to be 4.4.4.4, and then I configure the domain name, which are optional. Domain name, that's optional. So here I just say cisconary.com. You don't have to configure a domain name if you don't have one, but if you do, you can configure it. Now I exit the DHCP configuration mode, and in the global configuration mode, I'm going to configure something that is very important, which is the excluded address. So DHCP excluded address. Now, what are the excluded address? Excluded address, the addresses from this subnet that I don't want the DHCP server to assign to devices. The reason for that is that I might have used that assigned to servers, or assigned to printers, or any other devices on my network that need statically assigned IP address. Okay, so because I'm using those for something else, I don't want to conflict on the network. So I specifically tell my DHCP server, don't give out this range of IP addresses. Okay, so now I want to reserve the first 10 IP addresses on this subnet. That's from .1 to 192.168.1.10. Okay, so I've reserved at the first 10 IP addresses. Okay, with that we're done, and then we can just say okay, we save our work using the right command. So what we've done now, we've configured a fully functional DHCP server. So let's test our configuration. Let's see if this server is actually giving out IP addresses. So we go to the host. As you can see, host 1, I have the F00 interface shut down, just to make sure that they don't get IP until we finish the configuration. So I'm going to activate that port. Okay, so it's interface F00, and here I'm going to say no shot. Okay, and right, so that interface is up, and you can see that message right there that DHCP sees as address assigned, and that just told us that this device has been assigned the IP address of 192.168.1.11. That's the first available IP. Okay, good. We go to host 2 and we do the same thing. Host 2, we do the same thing. Config T interface F00. We do a no shot. We end that. Save the config. And we're going to see in a moment that this is going to get an IP address too. Okay, you see it has been assigned 192.168.1.12. Okay, so we know that those devices have IP, and we can try to ping the default gateway. Those are default router we configured earlier. 168.1.1. Okay, and as we can see, this device can talk to the default router, so it's a fully functioning network. So all right, so we go back to the to R1, which is where we have our DHCP server now, and we just want to do some verification. So there's some basic things you can test. You can check what are the IP addresses that has been assigned out. So it says show IP DHCP binding, and that shows you what IPs has been assigned. So we know that .11 and .12 has been assigned. This is the client ID as the MAC address. You see the list expiration to August 11, and this type tells us it's been assigned automatically. So if you need some further information about your DHCP server, you can do show IP DHCP server statistics, and that can give you further information. So you say the memory usage is how much memory your server is using. The address pool is just one address pool. DHCP discovers how many discovered messages it has received, which is 79. It has released 6 IPs. It has informed of 6 IPs, and it has sent DHCP 7 DHCP offers. So that's it. So we have a fully functioning network. We have a fully functioning DHCP server, and that concludes this video. I hope you guys enjoy watching this video. Please subscribe on Cisco Sosa to get more information as to how to configure Cisco routers and switches. I'm going to be making a lot of more videos to really help those who are aspiring to be network engineers, those who are trying to take the Cisco exam, and those who are also already practicing network engineers and just need quick reference. Thank you very much for watching again, and see you later. Bye bye.